Hello and welcome to Bridgewood Online. I'm Pastor Sean, and thank you so much for joining with us on this very special Dream Sunday. And so Pastor Kurt, our lead pastor, is speaking to our 8:30 experience right now here at the Clarkston campus, and you will actually get to hear that message here in just a little bit. Today is a special day. Today you're going to hear how Bridgewood has started, how Bridgewood has grown and changed over the years, and it is now our opportunity to now take this word, to take Bridgewood Church to the next generation as we endeavor to build a 30,000 square foot addition, a new sanctuary here at our Clarkston campus. And so we want everybody to be a part of this. And so if you're watching right now, and maybe you don't come to Bridgewood Church, maybe you watch us online, you have an opportunity to give and to support as well. And so we want to encourage each and every one of you who are ministered to by Bridgewood Church. Like I said, maybe it's not a direct campus, maybe you're watching online somewhere. We need you to join with us, to partner with us, to take this word to not only this community, but again, around the world. While you're on with us, would you do this? Would you hit like, hit share, and let's get this word to the community, to the world around us, because this word is going to change lives. It's not Bridgewood Church, but it is the Word of God that changes lives. And so would you do that for us today? As you're watching this, maybe you're around town here at 1 o'clock. Stop by at 1 o'clock today as we do a ceremonial groundbreaking of this 30,000 square foot expansion. And then lastly, hop on bridgewoodchurch.com/info to find out everything that is going on around here for you and your family. Here's Pastor Kurt Demoff with a Dream Sunday message.
Somebody and tell them it's going to be a great day today. All right, now turn to your second choice. Tell them it's going to be an even better day. Man, I'm excited. We are one church that gets the privilege and the opportunity to meet in a few different locations. And we're doing something today that we don't do every single weekend, but we are streaming live right now, this 10 a.m. service to our Goodrich campus. And Goodrich, we just want you to know that we see you, we love you, we are so proud of all that God is doing. Pastor Darren and Wendy and the entire team are doing an amazing job, as well as those that are watching online. So come on, Clarkston, show some love to our Goodrich campus, our online campus. We love you guys. We're celebrating. I just love what God is doing at Bridgewood Church at all of our locations. I'm just so thankful that God is on the move and that lives are being transformed and people are being changed. And I could spend all day long just talking about all the things God has done, is doing, and is going to do. And I'm just super excited about it. And one of the ways that we can share with this community about Bridgewood Church and more importantly, what God is doing is by our shareware. And so today I'm really excited to share with you that we are dropping new church merch out in our lobby areas today. Come on, that's worth celebrating, would you? We've got hoodies and T-shirts and ball caps and all of that. And here's what I love. What I love the most is when you wear this out in the community, you'll be shocked at how many people will ask you about Bridgewood Church, which then opens the door for you to share with them what God has done in your life, what your story is. It's absolutely amazing. So over the next several weeks, all of that merch will be out there. I promise you we're not making a dime on it. We are trying to make it so that everyone can participate in it. The most important thing is we just want you to share with people. People are looking. People are hungry. And many times they just need an invitation. and that's what this will do. So I'm really excited about that. Is anybody excited today about Dream Sunday? Come on, put your hands together. Come on, Goodrich, celebrate with us. Today is the beginning of our Dream campaign. Over the next 19 to 24 months, we are going to ask for your help and support in helping us to build a 30,000 square foot expansion onto our Clarkston campus. And this is going to be a huge step of faith that I'm thankful that we have a location north of us in Goodrich, and people have moved into that campus and are filling that campus up. But we need space here at Clarkston. Now, how many of you would like some extra parking spots, a seat where you're not crammed next to somebody, classrooms that we can expand our ministry so that we can disciple people and we can see people transformed by the power of Jesus Christ? And to be honest with you, we are just out of room. We are using every square inch of this building and then some, and we need to expand. So over the last 18 months, we have been planning, we have been working with architects, we have been seeking all of the permits and the approvals and everything that we need in order to expand onto this campus. And I want you to know today that we have everything that we need, even as we're just wrapping up some loose ends on the practical side of it. But today at 1 o'clock, if you're free, we are going to have an official groundbreaking right over here where this expansion is going to go. So Goodrich, if you're available, come on down. We're 15 minutes away, and swing down here at 1 o'clock, put a shovel in the ground, and let's dedicate this ground to the Lord. Can we just celebrate that today, that we are ready to get this started? We're ready to get it started. I know that every single week we continue to add more and more people, and there are people that have probably already seen this, but there are a lot of you that haven't, that you have not seen a tour of what we are planning and what we're about to construct. And so I'd like to invite you inside the doors for you to get a quick peek at what this expansion is going to look like. So direct your attention to the screen. Let's take a little tour together. started. We'll be able to seat between 800 and 1,000, depending on how it's configured. About 450 parking spaces. Come on, somebody. Now, you may have to walk a little bit further, but thankful for that. And one of the most exciting things is this entire current campus that we are in right now is going to go to our first and most important priority, and that's next gen. And so this will be turned into the student center. They'll occupy this entire phase, and we'll be over there because we believe in the next generation, and we believe that's the most important. And so we're excited, and we're believing that God is going to help us. And we've been dreaming a dream that started a long time ago, but it's a dream that God has placed in our heart. One of my favorite verses in the Bible, it's definitely in my top 3, is Ephesians chapter 3 and verse 20. And it says this: "Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all that we ask or imagine," someone say dream, "according to the power that is at work within us." Now, I can ask some big things, I can dream some great dreams, but I don't have the strength or the power to do anything about it. But it's the power that works in us and through us. We know that is the power of the Holy Spirit that helps us to accomplish the things that we ask and imagine, and immeasurably more than that, because of an amazing God that we serve. And so for a few minutes, I want to talk to you about the dream that started a long time ago. The dream started in December of 2001. And our denomination had heard that it was a desire and a dream of mine to plant a church somewhere in the Detroit metro area. And they called me just before Christmas of 2001, and they said, "We have a building on Sashabal Road that has 3 people in it, and they have been looking for a pastor for about a year or more, and they informed us that if they don't get a pastor in the next 3 weeks, that on Christmas they're going to turn the keys in and they're going to shut the doors to the church." And so it was this building right here that was the building that was over on Sashabal Road, just about a half mile from here, and it was a small church. Now, there were 3 people, and I just want you to know, with the confident vote of 3 people, they voted me in as the pastor of that church. And then all 3 of them left immediately. I promise you, they left. And I got it to 0 where I could manage it. And I got immediately on the phone and I called 5 other couples that had been dreaming and praying with us for a lot of years that God would help me to be able to fulfill this dream. And that dream became their dream. And I called them up and I said, "Guys, there's an opportunity for us. There's a church building with no people and no money in the bank. And the building is 5,000 square feet and it's dilapidated. And there are creatures living in it. It's the perfect place. I need you to sell your homes and move here to Clarkston." And all 5 of them sold their homes and moved to Clarkston. And we immediately shut the building down. It wasn't even inhabitable. Like, you could not even have a service in there. And we said, we're gonna do everything we can to make this presentable to the community. But 2 months into that, I didn't realize I got a knock on the door at our office during the day, and a developer was there standing in the lobby, and he looked at me. He said, "Are you the pastor?" I said, "Well, I guess I am." And he said, "I want to buy this building." He said, "We're doing a development up Sashaball Road here, and your building is right in the middle of our development." And I love those words because everything's for sale. And after some negotiation and going back and forth, he gave us $500,000 for that dilapidated building on that few acres of property. And he said, "You know, we're not going to need this building, or we don't need to tear it down for 2 years. So you could go ahead and get the church started, and we'll let you stay here rent-free." So for 2 years, we started the church. In August of 2002, we opened the doors to the community. And that first service, about 100 people or so came to the first service. The second week, 25 people showed up. The third week, I told our team, drive every car you have, borrow a car if you have to, and park it in front of the building so it looks like there are people here. And it was there that God just allowed us at that moment to take $500,000 and buy this 12 acres here at Radley Lake and M15. Now, we had a piece of property, but we had no building. And we had no money in the bank. We had less than $5,000 in the bank. And God said, "I want you to build a church building on that 12 acres of property." And God moved and stirred the heart of a couple of Christian businessmen who found out that we had started a church and were in need. And they called me one day and they said, "Man, we know that you just started a church in Clarkston. What do you need?" And I said, "Well, I need about $3 million to build a building." Because no bank is going to give you $3 million when you have less than 50 people and no money. And they said, "You know what? We want to have an eternal investment. We'll provide the $3 million so that you can build a building." We immediately started building. And while we were in that small church on Sashaball Road, we went from 1 service to 2 services to filling every parking spot available, to seeing our kids' area totally occupied. Everybody, we got so desperate, we bought a construction trailer and connected it to the building to be an adult classroom. And they said to us, "Hey, before you can get a permit for this, you have to have hurricane and tornado straps, because in high winds, this thing will go airborne." Now, I didn't tell the people that. This is where you just trust God. And we filled the trailer. And yet we were building this building miraculously. And on the summer of 2005, we moved in to what is now our current campus here in Clarkston. And we had our first service. We realized when we came into this auditorium, we filled it up on day 1. And we knew at that point in time that we were in trouble, that God was going to continue to grow us in a supernatural way. And church, can I just say over the next few years, we went from one service to two services to multiple services to adding onto our parking lot once, then twice, and then saying, you know what, we'll just park on the grass or wherever we have to go. In the last, several years, while we were there, our students and our kids was at maximum capacity. We only had a few classrooms in order to do teaching. We had classes going on in our conference room. Wherever we could put people, we would put people. And we realized at that point in time that we needed to do something. We were out of space. We were literally maximizing everything. And as I prayed, the Lord said, I want you to start a second location. And I want you to find a community somewhere around here where we could ask God for another location that could reach people right there in the community. And so we prayed that prayer for almost 2 years. And then one day, I got a knock at the door, and a gentleman showed up. He said, I pastor a church 15 minutes from here, and our church has come really to the end of its season, and we have about $300,000 left on the mortgage, 20,000 square foot building on 18 acres with a commercial kitchen, with outdoor fields, with everything, and said, if you'll pay off the mortgage, you can have the whole entire thing. Now, Bridgewood, listen to me. I want to say something, and I want you to hear it. We have never had the money to do anything God has ever asked us to do. We never had it in an account somewhere waiting for us where all of a sudden we said, hey, we have everything that we need. It has always been a step of faith and trusting God. And so we knew this was a phenomenal opportunity. Those of you that are sitting there in that Goodrich campus right now, we knew that God was in this. And one day, some individual came and said, we're going to help you get this thing started, and wrote a check for the mortgage. And we paid $300,000 and paid that building off in one day. And we got that building, and we knew it was going to need some work to be renovated to look like a second campus. And so for over the next year, with the help of so many people and the generosity of our Clarkston campus, we gave, we sacrificed, we prayed, and believed that God would help us, that we spent between $600,000 and $700,000 to get that campus ready. And on March 7th, 2020, we moved into that location, and on day one, 600 people showed up at that grand opening. 600 people filled that auditorium. We were absolutely amazed. We were celebrating together, and then the next week, COVID hit. And everything in the world came to a stop, and we said, God, do you know what's going on? Help us. But you know what God did? God miraculously and supernaturally sustained us. And the Goodrich campus has been growing. It has been doing an amazing job. Over the last few weeks, they have had record attendances there on the weekend. We're seeing people discipled. We're seeing people added into Team Bridgewood and helping us do ministry. Goodrich, we're celebrating with you. We're proud of you. Come on, let's just thank God for what he's doing at that location. We believe that we're going to be into 2 services there at that location in not very long. And so we were thankful for that. And then one day, our campus director, Brandon Heilig, and his wife, Christy, who not only are our campus directors, but also lead our young adults, came to me and they said, we have a dream and we have a vision. Our young adults ministry is expanding, it's growing. How many of you know that most people at 18 drop out of church? It's the highest dropout rate for people. Once they're out from the home and graduated, they walk away from church and they don't ever come back. But God was allowing our young adults to continue to grow and expand. And they said, you know what? We don't fit in a house anymore. Like we've outgrown that. We've outgrown the neighborhood. What if we were able to find a house or a space somewhere where we could make it for young adults and young marrieds, and we could use it so that we can continue to reach what I believe is the most important age group, that 18 to 25, and said, you know, what if we just did that? Bridgewood, it wasn't weeks after they came to me that our denomination called and said, we want to gift you a building in Goodrich on Mill Pond, 6,000 square feet, and it is now vacant, and if you want it, you can have it. And so we took over this church that was dilapidated times 2 from the first one. And we said, you know what, God, if you miraculously supplied for this, then you're going to provide for it. And again, with the help of the Goodrich campus, the Clarkston campus, the generosity of people, we spent over $500,000 renovating this, paid cash for it, and now we have the gathering that is a beautiful space that houses young adults, young marrieds, life groups, discipleship, all of that happening, and all to the glory of God that He provided for that. Which brings us to today. Which brings us to the need that is before us once again to take a step of faith. In the last few weeks, we have had all of our properties appraised. And they appraised for about a little over $7 million of properties that we have. And yet, with the other 2 being paid for, we have, with cash on hand right now, about $1.7, $1.8 million left on the mortgage, and all 3 of our campuses will be paid for. And we believe that over the next 19 to 24 months, that God is going to give us the ability to not only pay the rest of this off, but to be able to begin seeing God provide for the expansion that is going to take place. And so we are coming to you with this dream campaign and believing that God is going to use every single one of us to be able to make more room to reach more people. How many of you know people are hungry and they're searching for truth right now? I believe that there is a divine window that is open right now where we are seeing people that are searching for truth, that are hungry for the things of God, that are looking for faith, and they are coming back to church. They are coming back to God. Now, I don't know how long this window is going to be open. This window could shut very quickly. But the window is open now, and the community is growing now. How many of you have been by the new Myers Marketplace and expansion over on Sashaball and Walton over there. That Pulte home development, they are putting hundreds of homes and townhomes in as I speak. There are families moving into those, and they are going fast. The middle school, Clarkson Middle School, is under full construction. It's being expanded to meet the needs of the community. And if the community is growing, I believe the church should be growing as well to reach the people of the community. That in order for us to say, God, you're going to help us be able to reach this community, then we've got to make more room, we got to make more space. And God has shown us that over the history of our church. We started this church, everybody, with 12 people. There were 12 of us. One had some kids. But 12 of us that started this church. Last weekend, across our campuses here, we had over 1,650 people over 4 services across our campuses. And parking spots that are full, seats that are full, in overflow many of the times, class space in our next gen area in maximum capacity because all of you keep multiplying and having more kids, which we're thankful for. But that's the truth and the reality of what we're up against. And so we're not coming to you because we have a dream to have a luxury item added to our history. It's a gymnasium. We'd like to have a swimming pool, a water park. Friends, this is urgent for us. When I get home after 3, sometimes 4 services and my tongue's hanging out, I can't even remember what day it is. And yet we would need to add another service now. The reality is we need to add a 4th service. We need to add another service at the Goodrich location. To be doing 6 services every weekend is not a long-term plan for us. And yet God wants to provide. Now, I know you're all thinking and you're all asking, okay, what is this going to cost? When we built this current campus that we're in, not the renovation projects at Goodrich or the Gathering, because that's not building new, that was renovating. But when we built this new in 2005, we paid somewhere between $100 and $125 a square foot. That's what it costs us. Today, how many of you know it's not 2005? But today it's $300 to $325 a square foot. So we estimate that this expansion will be $9 million, a little over $9 million. And that $9 million, now everybody take a deep breath. Some of you are ready to pass out. You're thinking to yourself, wow, in 2005, with no money and no people, but 50 of us, 3 million felt like 12 million. We thought that was bigger than we could ever imagine, yet God said, for me, it's nothing. You have to trust and you have to believe. Now, to this point, we have already spent about $600,000, maybe a little more. I'd have to look because we've had permits. We've been working with a builder already. He has billed us. We had all of our architectural plans done and permits. We've already spent $600,000 or $700,000, and we haven't borrowed a penny yet. We've been paying cash for that. And it's almost like God has just kept supplying as the needs have come, but we know that this is still a huge step of faith. And yet, we see the potential. Jesus said in John chapter 4, "Is it still 4 months until harvest? I tell you, open your eyes and look at the fields. They are ripe for harvest." When I look around, I see the harvest. I see people that are far from God that need to come close to God. Our vision is that we would be a community of people that are so in love with Jesus, so passionate about Jesus, that when they see our life, they want to know him. And the mission of Jesus is our mission. His mission, Luke chapter 19, was to seek and to save the lost. Friends, that's what we're about, is seeking and saving the lost. How many of you have ever lost something like your car keys or the TV remote? When you lose something, you get consumed by it. You can't do anything until you find what you're looking for, or you interrogate everybody else because you think they took your stuff. God's heart is so preoccupied and so focused on lost people that he's willing to do whatever it takes to reach people. That's our mission, that's our heart. And that's what we want to be able to do. We want to say, God, we see the harvest. Help us to do whatever we have to do in order to reach that harvest. And we're not building for us. We're building for the future, and we're building for people that aren't even here yet. Now, let me illustrate this to you, okay? How many of you, and we're going to do this both here at Clarkston and Goodrich, and those that are online, how many of you were here at Bridgewood in 2005? Goodrich, how many of you were at the Goodrich campus in 2020 when we launched those 2 locations? Can I see your hand? Okay, look around, everybody. We built it for you. We built it for you. You weren't even here. You weren't even sitting in a seat or a classroom here, but we saw you and we prayed for you and we believed God that if we would do this, he would reach people. And the majority of people that are here right now at our campuses weren't even here when we did it. So we built it for you. We're not building this for us now. We're building it for future generations. We're building it for people we don't even know. We don't even know what they look like or how many of them are going to come. We're building it for the future. I believe it's the plan of God for the people of God to build the house of God. So let me wrap it up with this, okay? I want you to take your Bible, go to Exodus chapter 35. Moses led the people to build the first church. The first church wasn't a permanent church, it was a portable church. It was after they had been miraculously delivered from Egypt that they were told, plunder all of Egypt on your way out. And the people took silver and gold and bronze, anything that they could get their hands on. And then they went into the wilderness thinking that it was only going to be 3 days or so till they got to the promised land. It took more than 3 days. And so God spoke to Moses and said, Moses, I want you to build me a house in the wilderness. So Exodus chapter 35, verse 4 says, Moses said to all the congregation of the people of Israel, this is the thing that the Lord has commanded. Take from among you a contribution to the Lord. Whoever is of a generous heart, let him bring the Lord's contribution gold, silver, and bronze. Notice that Moses was speaking to everyone. He wasn't speaking to just a few people. He wasn't just speaking to people that had money and resources. He spoke to the entire group and community of people, over 1 million of them. And notice what he said. If you have a generous heart, a willing heart, I want you to bring a contribution to the Lord, an offering to the Lord. Now, I want to say this, and I want to say this as clear as I can, so listen to me. If you don't have a generous heart or a willing heart, but you feel that this is out of obligation or manipulation, I would rather you not give or bring anything. Because I don't want you to feel or be guilted into something or manipulated by something, but out of a generous and a willing heart say, we believe this is the vision of God, and I want to be able to contribute to it. And so I promise you, we're not going to manipulate you. We're not going to have a circus out there and a bake sale and all this stuff to try to guilt you into doing this. I believe that all the resources to do what God is asking us to do are here at Bridgewood. 3 of us believe that. Look at verse 20 now. Look what happened. Then all the congregation of people of Israel departed from the presence of Moses, and they came, everyone whose heart stirred him. Notice they're moved by God. No other motivation. And everyone whose spirit moved him, and brought the Lord's contribution to be used for the tent of meeting and for all its service and for holy garments. So you know what the people were saying? Moses, we're going to bring free will offerings and contributions, and we're going to help you build this church. We're going to buy the chairs. We're going to buy the goldfish for the nursery. We're going to help buy the sound system. We're going to help put whatever resources and materials into it. We're even going to provide for the pastor's outfit. Come on, somebody. So that's what they did. Look at verse 22. So they came, both men and women, all who were of a willing heart. They bought brooches and earrings and signet rings and armlets and all sorts of gold objects, every man dedicating an offering of gold to the Lord. And everyone who possessed purple and scarlet yarn and fine linen of goat's hair, they brought them. They offered them. Everyone who could make a contribution of silver or bronze brought it as the Lord's contribution. And everyone that possessed any kind of materials brought it. And the women, it says, verse 26, all the women whose hearts stirred them used their skill to spin the goat's hair. Now, service announcement, you can leave the goat hair home. But notice what they did. Is they went back to their homes and they searched and they said, what do I have that I could give? Now, ladies, I think some of you got some brooches out there. Come on, like those big butterflies or those ladybugs made out of gold or whatever. They said, you know what, I got one of those. I could sell one of those. I could get rid of it. I could bring it to the Lord. They brought rings and earrings. Some of you got more earrings than you need. Some of you got nose rings, maybe some navel rings that it's time to get rid of and bring them to the Lord. There's some of you that even have gold teeth you're not even chewing on. It's time to cash them in. You know what the translation of this is? Is they went home, they looked at their savings account, their stock account, they looked through their house and they said, could we have a garage sale? Could we throw something on eBay or Marketplace? And whatever they had, they were willing to give to the Lord as a contribution. And they brought it. And then watch what the Lord does. Look at chapter 36, verse 2 and 3. And Moses called Bezalel and Aholiab and every craftsman whose mind the Lord had put skill, everyone whose heart stirred him, there it is again, to come do the work. And they received from Moses all the contribution that the Lord of Israel had brought for doing the work of the sanctuary. They still kept bringing him free will offerings every morning. Isn't it amazing? Okay, they didn't pass a bucket. They didn't have giving boxes or online. It said every day people would bring whatever they were going to offer to the Lord and dropped it off at the job site. And the contractors that were working on the building, how many of you know when they do their job, they hand you a bill, then they want to get paid? All of the resources were there because every day people kept bringing all of this stuff to the job site, dropping it off. And so every bill was being paid by the contributions of the people that were giving. And then you say, well, how much was that? Now, the Bible tells us how much gold, silver, and bronze they brought. And I calculated it in today's value. It said of gold, they brought 2,193 pounds of gold. You know what that value is today? $70 million. They brought 2,545 pounds of silver. That was over $3 million. Now, bronze needs to go up a little. They brought 5,310 pounds of bronze, and that was worth 14 grand. They gave, in today's value, $73 million for the house of God in the wilderness when they didn't even have their own home. And yet God said, bring a contribution and be a part of building my house. $73 million. I'll take $9 million any day. Now here's where I am. Verse 3. And they received from Moses all the contributions that the people of Israel had brought for doing the work on the sanctuary. They still kept bringing him free will offerings every morning. So the craftsmen who were doing every sort of task on the sanctuary came, each from the task that he was doing, and said to Moses, the people bring much more than enough for doing the work that the Lord had commanded us to do. So Moses gave this command, and word was proclaimed throughout the camp, let no man or woman do anything more for the contribution for the sanctuary. So the people were restrained from bringing, for the material they had was sufficient to do all the work and more. Now, Bridgewood, I dare you, I double dare you to make me the second pastor in history to have to tell you, stop bringing your offerings to the church. We have more than enough. Come on, somebody. Can you believe that? Like, people stop. We have more than enough. And so I believe that the dream that the Lord has given us, that we're about to start as we put a hole in the ground today, is something that the Lord is going to use for future generations here at Bridgewood Church to reach people and to make a difference in our community. And every single one of us has a part. Now, when you walked in the door, in just a minute, I'm going to hand it over to our campus pastor. But when you walked in, you were given a stone, and I want you to hold that stone in your hand. I'm going to instruct you what to do with it in just a moment. And then in the seat backs in front of you at our locations, there is a card, a Dream Campaign pledge card that looks like this. I'd like for everyone to reach into that seat back and pull one of these cards out right now, if you would. Doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter whether this is your first week or your 100th week a part of this church, but I want you to grab that card and I want you to hold it in your hand. Before we instruct you to do anything, I know some of you are saying, is this really God's vision? Like, did you really hear from God? Because this is a big step of faith. I shared with our staff on Monday something I haven't shared with a whole lot of people. And they begged me, they said, you have to share this with the people. It's from my own personal journal. It's dated February the 26th. And it goes back somewhere around 2010. I don't know, for whatever reason, I didn't write the year down, but I know it was right in that time frame. And there was a great family that was a part of our church. They moved away, but John and Nancy Bradford, many of you might know, John came to me one day and he said, I want to take you to the YWAM missions base in Montana to see what the Lord is doing. And we were going to bring teams of people there over the summer that were going to help do some ministry work there. And I said, sure. So he said, we'll just take 3 days. We'll go. I'll show you around. And I just want you to see the ministry and the vision. So I went with them. On the first day that we got there, they were in their discipleship training school. And John said to me, he said, you know what? Why don't we just sit in the back of the classroom and just, you can take in one of these classes so you could see kind of what they get and what kind of training they get when they come here to the space. I said, sure, sounds great. So we made our way in, sat in the very back of the classroom. And the speaker that day was a speaker that it was teaching about prophecy in the Bible. He was a young guy, had no idea who I was or who John was, any of those students were. He was a guest. He stepped to the lectern to start teaching the class, and then he stopped and he said, I can't teach this class until I deliver this word. And he said, I have a word that the Lord wants me to share. And he points to me in the back of the classroom and he says, it's for you. Would you stand up? Now, how many of you know that's where your heart starts pounding and you're thinking to yourself, oh boy, what's this guy gonna say? And what he said, I wrote down in my journal and haven't shared it with anybody. But here's what he said. He said, there is a dream that God has given you. And he said, you're coming out of a season of fatigue and frustration. The enemy has been working hard to discourage you and keep you from that dream. It was a difficult season of ministry. And he said, God is giving you resources. And then he stopped and he said, financial resources. He said, because expansion and growth is coming. He said, I see a new location. This is before we even started dreaming about multi-site. He said, other locations. People that have left will return and they'll come back. God will give you favor in the community. Bridgewood will be a catalyst for other churches and other leaders. God is going to do something remarkable in your youth. Church, we're experiencing a sovereign move of God in Bridgewood Youth in our kids' ministry. So the anointing will come upon you, and I will put my hand upon the dream and the vision that you have. And if you trust me and take a step of faith, I will provide. That was a lot of years ago. And it wasn't until I pulled that journal out and I looked back and I remembered what God had said, and I reread it. I said, God, you did that, you did that, you did that, you did every single thing on that list. God has done. And so, Bridgewood, this isn't bad pizza or, hey, I'm just bored looking for something to do. I believe this is the dream of God for the future of Bridgewood Church. So I'm going to turn it over to the campus pastor. I'd like for you to stand right here at Clarkston as you hold this in your hand. The worship team is coming, and I want you to hear me. This is a faith pledge card for the next 19 months. You say, why 19 months? That gets us through this year and all of next year. We will move into this expansion sometime next year in 2026. So you got to think this isn't for 1 week, or this is for 19 months. That the Lord would stir your heart and move you to say, this is what I can do over the next 19 months to help us fulfill this dream. I want you to know, whatever you write on this card, nobody is coming to you, nobody's calling you, nobody's going to hunt you down for what you wrote on this card. This is between you and God. Not only that, I want you to know this helps tremendously with the lenders that are helping us, because when you have faith pledge cards, they consider that as part of what they're going to do to help you get this accomplished. They take a percentage of it. They just know that's how much comes in. So whatever's pledged is going to help us tremendously. So it's even more for that than it's for anything. And so here's what I'm asking you to do. Take this home with you today, and I want you to stick it in your Bible. And over the next 2 weeks, I want you to pray, and I want you to ask God a very simple prayer. It's this prayer right here. Lord, everything I have belongs to you already. How would you like me to give your money away? And ask the Lord what he wants you to do. and you can write on that and mark that box. I want you to bring this back in 2 weeks. On June the 1st, we're going to lay them at the altar at our locations, and we're going to trust God to help us supernaturally. Now, if you're not there, you'll have an opportunity to get it to us and turn it in. But church, I need everybody. Even if you don't plan to give, write zero on it, at least turn a card in. If it's $1, write $1. It doesn't matter. But I want you to do what the Spirit is moving your heart to do. And we're going to collect them, and we're going to believe God. Now, I want you to take this rock. The host team back there said, you better have a good service today because everyone is armed today in this place. So here's what we're gonna do today. Now at 1 o'clock, we'd love for you to come back. If you can, come on and join with us. It won't be long, but we're gonna put a shovel in the ground and we're gonna officially get this started. But for right now, here's what I want you to do. The worship team is gonna sing us out, and you're gonna have an opportunity. There are markers in the seat back in front of you. We have one more service, so don't take the marker. But I want you to write your name, your family, and if you have a scripture or anything, you can write it on this rock as well. And as you leave today, you'll see that foundation right in the center lobby. I want you to put your rock with your name, with your family in that foundation. And here's what's going to happen. When the foundation is being laid for this new expansion, all of the rocks of everybody who has contributed, everybody who's with us at this moment in history, your rock is going to be embedded in the foundation of this expansion. And we're going to look back and we're going to know it was this group of people that saw the dream and gave to it. So we would love for you to do it. So Bridgewood, come on. We can do this together. Let's trust God. Pray over this card. And right now, as they begin to sing before you leave, come on, write on this and drop it out there. Join us at 1 o'clock if you can. And we're going to get this started. I love you, church. Together, we're going to make this dream a reality. Come on. Turn to somebody and tell them it's going to